Today is the first day in a year-long process to brew and sour a Flanders red ale. And yeah, I'll also address why I'm wearing sunglasses indoors. My name is Martin Keane. I'm taking the Homebrew Challenge to brew 99 beers in 99 weeks. This week is the wonderfully complex style of Flanders red ale. Now, there are a few steps to this, but we're going to start with the familiar, which is the mash-in. Now, here is my grain, and it's a relatively big bag of grain for a beer that's not all that high in alcohol, and that's because I'm brewing a 5-gallon batch. If I'm going to spend a year waiting for this beer to be ready, I'm not doing a half-size batch for that. 2 days mash will be conducted at 150 Fahrenheit. That is 66 Celsius. Okay, let's mash. So the story of the sunglasses. I've got this new desk set up here that I've been hooking up, and I was just doing some cable management, and well, I had my head under the desk, and yeah, my MacBook charger fell off and hit me right in the eye here. Got a bit of a shiner. Those things are really heavy. Anyway, okay, you've seen it now, so dispense with the glasses. And let's talk a little bit then about where I am in the Homebrew Challenge, because I'm now in a category of European sour ales. And I have already completed 23A Berliner Weiss, and I soured that through kettle souring. But the remaining styles, 23B, C, D, E, and F, those all really need more traditional souring methods, which is to say time, a lot of time for the bugs to sour the beer and do their work. That means I'm not going to be able to taste any of these beers in these challenges because, well, frankly, I have not been so prepared as to prepare these a year in advance. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got 2 spare fermenters. These are PET fermenters, and I'm going to use those to sour 2 of the beers of the European sour ale category, the first being today's beer, which is Flanders red ale. It means I'm going to be skipping 3 styles in this category, but don't worry, I'm still doing 99 beers in 99 weeks. I'm just going to look a little bit further down the list for my 3 makeup beers.
Sorry to say, Shelby, my oh my, what a wonderful day. If this is hell.
That doesn't look great, does it? Anyway, the beer I'm building has an original gravity of 1051 or 5.4% ABV. For the base malts, I am combining Belgian Pilsner malt with Vienna Malt at 38% each. I'm also adding in 9% of Flaked Oats. Then for the remaining specialty malts, to really get the malt character that we're looking for, I'm adding in Aromatic Malt, Caramunich II, and Special B, each at 5%.
When this is over,
now, Flanders red ale is a complex beer with aromas and taste notes of dark fruit and a finish that resembles an aged red wine. What it is not is a hoppy beer. So we want virtually no hop flavour and very little hop bitterness. That means I'm only adding 1 hop addition, the bittering hop, and you're going to want something that is a low alpha acid hop. I am using Tettnang. I'm going to put this in right now at the start of the boil. A quick update then on how I'm getting on with my Glycol chiller paired with these Spike Brewing fermenters. This is a beer that I brewed a little while back and I wanted to cold crash it. One thing with cold crashing is you get negative pressure. So as the beer temperature drops, pressure builds up inside the vessel. Often I'll see, like if I use a better bottle, it will sort of shrink in on itself. Or if you happen to be using a blow-off, well, I brewed a Belgian triple that sucked up all of the sanitizer up the blow-off tube with that negative pressure. Now to get around negative pressure, I've used a gas manifold here, and I added 5 psi of pressure before letting my Glycol chiller loose on chilling this thing down. And you can see that I've gone from 5 psi down to 2 psi. That's negative pressure for you. I'm also going to be using this gas manifold now to do a closed transfer into a keg. So let me show you how this works. I've got this little device here which I'm going to attach to the output. Now I've already sanitized this keg and purged it with CO2. Next I'm going to maintain 5 psi of pressure in this fermenter. So I have some CO2 here and that's now at 5 psi. So I'm ready to send liquid into the keg. Let's open the butterfly valve. Okay, pressure is going to build in this keg pretty quickly. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take this hose. This is a bottle of sanitizer. And I'm going to connect this to the gas post. You hear the bubbling? That's the air from the keg escaping, going through here. Okay, close transfer is in progress. I've chilled the wort down to 68 Fahrenheit and now I'm going to pitch the yeast, and just the yeast. I'm just going to do a normal primary fermentation here. When this gets done I'm going to transfer to secondary and add some bugs at that stage, but so far this is just a normal brew day. So I'm using Wyeast 1007. This is German ale yeast, pitching at 68 Fahrenheit or 20 Celsius. It has been 7 days now, fermentation is complete and it's time to rack into secondary. My secondary vessel is this carboy. This is a PET Better Bottle carboy. Now, you do need to be a little bit careful about oxygen permeability because this beer is going to sit in the fermenter for a year. So any oxygen that gets in there is going to be bad news. So you'd often see glass carboys being recommended. I don't happen to have any glass carboys anymore, so I'm going to use a Better Bottle. This is rated for low oxygen permeability though, so I'm hopeful it's not going to be too much of an issue. Right, so I've added to my fermenter here a little extra port so that I can take a sample. So I'm going to take a gravity sample now just to check on the beer. This beer is not going to win any awards for clarity just now, but that's okay. It's got plenty of time to clear up. So the original gravity, the final gravity I should say, came in at 1014. But that's not quite the final gravity yet because we've got more stuff to add in. First of all, I've got some oak chips here. And these are medium toast oak chips. I have 4 ounces. I've just put these in boiling water for a little while just to make sure that they are sterilized. And now I'm going to put those into the fermenter. And finally, the bugs. What I'm using here is Wyeast 3763. This is Roselare Ale blend. So this is going to both add the sourness that we're looking for in the beer, but it's also going to continue the fermentation a little bit and really dry this thing out. Cap it off, and well, now it's just a case of storing it for a year. I'm not going to do any temperature control with this. I'm just going to leave this in a dark place in my basement. I'm going to put it in a cupboard or something. And then in 1 year from now, come revisit it. So I don't have a Flanders Red to try because it's going to take a year, but we do have...
So we're cheating?
Yeah, we're going to cheat. We've got a commercial beer. So this is a Duchess de Bourgogne.
That sounded very poor pronunciation, but we'll go with it. Duchess. The
Duchess.
internet told me. Duchess de Bourgogne.
Okay,
We'll go with it.
I like it. So let's crack this guy open. Now this is actually a blend. So this is a 18-month-old beer blended with an 8-month-old beer.
Oh,
that was very disappointing.
That was very disappointing. It was not a champagne, but all right, we know it's not carbonated like champagne. That's for sure.
Yep.
Oh, so I'm excited to see what this is going to look like.
Yeah. So look at this. This is quite lightly carbonated. It's not super fizzy.
No, it's not a huge head, as we saw when that cork came off. It's definitely not champagne in any way, but the colour is very deep. You cannot see through this at all.
Yes, a little bit of burgundy in there, I think.
Very, very dark, almost like a sort of like bourbon or whiskey type colour. Smell. Oh, vinegary, I would say.
Yeah, it's got that. It has got a touch of vinegar to it.
Yeah.
Definitely can tell this is going to be a sour beer.
Yeah, and what sort of wine and vinegar type. Less of a beer smell, I would say. So, I'm interested to see what this is going to taste like.
Well, let's find out.
All right.
Oh, so
I don't think it tastes very beery either to me.
no, but it doesn't taste very vinegary either. I was expecting it to be a lot more sharp, but actually there's a bit of sweetness in this as well.
Yeah, it's not very carbonated whatsoever, and it's not. Although it is labelled as it's going to be a sour beer, I wouldn't call that overly sour. No, definitely not. Pretty smooth, I would say, actually.
It is smooth, yeah, that's right. Which belies the aroma to me. It doesn't smell like it's going to be smooth at all.
You think it's going to be harsh, you think it's going to hit you in the back of the throat, but it's not that way at all.
Well, yeah, so I'll see you back here in a year. We can do maybe a comparison between Duchess de Bourgogne and Martin's Flanders Red.
Duchess de Bourgogne. I can't wait for someone in the comments to tell me how much I butchered that.
But until next year, cheers!
Cheers!